Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders of GMS. Much love to you brothers on the four corners of the planet, the true elect brethren. Okay, man, because we're coming to the time, man. We're coming to that time. Because we're out here to wake up the elect and to give the truth, man. Because you got guys falling out and guys doing hateful things, man. But the Lord spoke of those things. So we're going to get into this story. Alright, and show that these prophecies are coming to pass and the Most High is acting. He's doing little things here and there that are being televised and are not. Okay, so there's a quick story. I'll just play it and we'll get into the scripts. And that's why we say Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, and giving us this truth, man, and letting us being able to know ourselves again and to be able to see these prophecies as they come.
A young man was killed in northern Italy on Thursday when a 600-kilogram statue erected in honor of Pope John Paul II collapsed and crushed him. Marco Gosmini was killed instantly and one other man taken to hospital. Part of the 30-meter-high sculpture collapsed at a ceremony ahead of the Pope's canonization. St. Paul II and his predecessor, Pope John XXIII, are due to be declared saints on Sunday. The crucifix commemorates the Pope.
That Pope John is supposed to be sainted. And let me get a script real quick. Show you who the saints are. This is the book of Psalms. It's the book of Psalms 148 in verse 13. And it says, "Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel." That's who can be saints, man, is the children of Israel, not no Edomite. And it says, he also exalted the horn of his people and prayed the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel. As a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. So now you see the situation here. I'll play the video.
Which visit to the area in 1998. The installation near the town of Sivo was designed as a large curved cross with a statue of Jesus Christ weighing 600 kilograms fixed to the top. The group of
So that's showing you that was a sign before the so-called he's being sainted. His statue, his monument killed a man, took his life as he was going there to commemorate the guy. So that shows you the Lord's not dealing with that guy being sainted, man. Okay, let me get to show you how the Most High has done things like this before. This is nothing new. The Most High does things like this because it says two cannot walk together unless they be agreed. The Most High is not dealing with this Catholic institution and dealing with these false prophets, man. So he's showing you in these little things that he does, that the power does. Let's go to 1 Samuel 5, and we'll start at the top. This is the book of 1 Samuel 5 and 1. And it says, "And the Philistines took..." Salakia. Raise it up again. And it says...
Children was reported to be in attendance at the time.
Salakia. This is 1 Samuel 5 and 1. "And the Philistines took the ark of the Most High and brought it from Ebazar unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of the Most High, they brought it unto the house of Dagon, and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early in the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face." Look at that. What? Hold on, let me go back. Let me show you that. Let me show you this. Let me let this picture right here, and I'm going to read it again. And it says, "And when they of Ashdod arose early," and Ashdod is a port city in Israel. Okay? And it says, "And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth, but the ark of the Lord, it says, before the ark of the Lord, and they took Dagon and set him in his place. They picked him up. He picked up the idol and set him up. If he is a god, he can't pick himself up. Go to verse 4. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off unto the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. You see that? Is not the palm right there? You see the palm of that statue? You see it broken up? The head probably broken up down there. The Most High broke up that idol. His foot lying over here. Read it again, man. Show you the most. This is the Yahweh Hashem Yahushua did that, man. And it says, verse 4, and when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. Therefore neither the priest of Dagon nor any that come into Dagon's house thread on the threshold of Dagon and Ashdod unto this day. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. I've shown you the point I'm trying to pull here, that the Most High is this. Whenever the Ark of the Covenant is was the thing that was given, the Ark of the Covenant held the commandments. Okay, so we can say that these so-called Catholic institutions trying to hold the Ark, man. They taking the Ark unto themselves, the laws, statutes, and commandments, the book. Okay, what we have here is we have the truth, the full understanding of it, but they're putting it in falsehood. They're just taking it unto themselves and setting it up. Now the Most High is casting down these idols, man, because they can't stand with the Ark, the true power, man. The Most High now is revealing that and raising us up. So you can watch the rest of this. We'll play it a little before.
On the 23rd are due to be declared saints on Sunday. The crucifix commemorates the Pope's visit to the area in 1998. The installation near the town of Sivo was designed as a large curved cross with a statue of Jesus Christ weighing 600 kilograms fixed to the top. A group of children was reported to be in attendance at the time. The cross was designed by sculptor Enrico Job and was created for John Paul II's visit to nearby Brescia. The two popes will be declared saints at the Vatican on Sunday. It's not the first death caused by a falling crucifix in Italy. In 2004, the Associated Press reported that a 72-year-old woman had been crushed to death by a 7-foot-tall metal crucifix in the town of St. Onoforio in the south of the country.
Alright, let's play this next video, because this is what the actual crowning of this damn
Thousands of pilgrims are pouring into Rome for a one-of-a-kind ceremony this week. Pope John the 23rd and Pope John Paul II will both become Roman Catholic saints on Sunday. But a recent celebration in northern Italy went terribly wrong. A 100-foot-tall crucifix fell onto a 21-year-old man and killed him. The display was created in John Paul's honor while he was Pope.
Unusual story.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Roman Catholics across the world are celebrating two new saints this morning. And frankly, they're not the only ones celebrating, because nearly 1 million people packed St. Peter's Square for the historic ceremony, where Pope John the 23rd and Pope John Paul II were both elevated to sainthood in a truly historic ceremony. Amy Kellogg streaming live from Rome with the latest, and we all wish we were there with you, Amy.
Hi, Jamie, and as the Vatican puts it, John Paul II...
Let me read this real quick. This is Isaiah 19:1. It's the book of Isaiah 19 and verse 1. And it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at the presence in her. Hey, these scripts are so beautiful, man. These scripts are so beautiful. Read it again. This is Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And that's it. So these idols are being shaken, man. So that shows you the Lord's on his way. That's showing you, man. It's proof.
And John the 23rd were actually inscribed into the Book of Saints. Now, John Paul II was the man who made sainthood faster than anyone before him, beating out Mother Teresa by 15 days. And it's absolutely fascinating, the process by which the Church decides who is closest to God. 30 clerical consultants and 80 non-clerical consultants work to validate the miracles who are attributed to potential saints. And of course, exceptions can be made, Jamie, for exceptional people. In fact, John Paul II, when he was alive, actually abolished something called the Office of the Devil's Advocate, or Advocatus Diabolus. That was eliminating one layer of procedure. And today, Pope Francis, in this glorious ceremony, made it a historic occasion altogether by canonizing two popes in one ceremony. Now, relics were blessed today by Pope Francis. A vial of John Paul II's blood was carried by a Costa Rican woman who experienced one of his miracles when her brain aneurysm mysteriously disappeared. A piece of John the 23rd's flesh was also presented at the ceremony. Most of the pilgrims really came out today for their connection to John Paul II, but John the 23rd's extraordinary life and achievements have been much relived in these days. He was the Catholic leader who is said to have done the most to improve relations with Jews, and he, during World War II, saved more Jewish lives than any other Catholic leader. He came from humble beginnings.
Alright, after that, let's jump right here. We'll show you something. This is a article that says Jew or not. It says Pope John Paul II, Quero Joif Wajat, whatever his name is, Salakia, I can't pronounce that. Let's just keep reading though. It says May 18th, 1920 to April 2nd, 2005. Has there even been a Jewish pope? Trust us, the question is not as silly as it seems on the surface. The first Pope, Peter, was Jewish. Of course, after him, it was 2,000 years of Goyim cattle, which the heathens, okay, the other nations. And it says nothing nothing unexpected there. There was an anti-pope of Jewish descent, Ancilius II. Frankly, we don't have the time nor the desire to research the 12th century Italian politics to figure out the legitimacy of his claims to the throne. Plus, the photo of his profile would be pretty hard to find, because those back then is a Negro, back in that time. And it says, so what are we to do profiling John II? Well, a researcher has delved into the Wojtyła family tree and proclaims the Pope's mother, Emily Kazorkowicz, whatever, the name I cannot pronounce, was born Emily Katz, we do not know, we do know for a fact that young Karl spent a lot of time in a Jewish community in his birth town of Wadwitz, and the researcher cities those supposed Jewish roots as the reason for Karol going into hiding during the World War II, something that would have been necessary if he was 100% Polish. So that shows you this Pope right here had Jewish roots, man. So the reason they helped those Jews like that is because they have Jewish roots. I had that article put.
He was an army medic and a sergeant who worked in World War I. He went on to become Pope, in some ways really shaking up the Vatican with Vatican II, somewhat diminishing the power of the Curia and fighting to get the church to treat with greater regard people.
All right, with that, you can watch that. I really, for the sake of time, I know it's been all over the news, but we're going to get into the next article and show the situation with Russia is brewing up. World War III update.
This is the command and control center of the pro-Russian revolt in Slavyansk. CNN was given rare access behind the barricades of the security services building, on condition we don't show any faces. Just as Kiev announced the second phase of its so-called anti-terrorism operation. These self-defense units, as they call themselves, are digging in.
This is one of the vehicles that was captured from the Ukrainian military around a week ago, and those that are inside the Security Services, or SBU, building, they are absolutely confident that they can repel any sort of attack.
Evgeny Gorbik, a former military man turned spokesman, says they have 2,000 fighters at the ready, and plenty of weapons. It's war trophies. The Ukrainian army gave them to us, he says. In 90% of the cases, it was voluntary. They are communicating and coordinating with pro-Russian groups in other cities and towns. Gorbik says they have developed several layers of defenses, which were tested on Thursday when the Ukrainian military approached their barricades on the outskirts of the city. The barricades are set on fire, which then warns the mobile groups that the enemy is approaching, he explains. They seemed to work. The Ukrainian military withdrew. Confidence seems to be growing among pro-Russian militants. At nearby Kramatorsk Air Base, smoke drifts into the sky. A helicopter was fired on and destroyed, says the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Others say it was an accident. Ukrainian soldiers guarding the perimeter looked edgy as they argued with curious locals. This isn't what they're trained to do, nor is it a conflict they want. For now, the pro-Russian groups seem assured that what they have, they will hold. Arwa Damon, CNN, Slavyansk, Ukraine.
Washington has announced its list of Russian nationals and companies who will be hit by the new round of sanctions over the Ukrainian standoff.
It's a video on the sanctions that U.S. is, more sanctions have went through, which is an article of war. That's all it is. They're going to piss off enough Russians that this thing is going to escalate. Okay, they're taking these guys' money pretty much, because the assets that's in the they'll explain it. Let's let the video.
And let's now go live to RT's Marina Bordnaya for details. Hello there, Marina. So what more do we know about this latest move?
Well, as you already mentioned, these new sanctions target 7 Russian government officials and 17 companies. Many of the diplomats and officials that are being named have close relationships with President Vladimir Putin, including Igor Sechin. He's the president and chairman of the management board of Rosneft. Alexei Puskov is the chairman of the State Duma Committee on International Affairs, and another person being sanctioned is Dmitry Kozak. He's the deputy prime minister of the Russian Federation. Now, as a result of these sanctions, any assets of the individuals and businesses that are being named, if they have assets within the U.S. jurisdiction, those assets must be frozen. Additionally, transactions by U.S. persons or within the United States involving the individuals and businesses designated are generally prohibited. Now, the new sanctions announced today are intended to build on earlier U.S. and European visa bans and asset freezes imposed on Russian officials. This happened after Crimea held a referendum leading to the reunification with Russia. Now, the White House says these additional penalties are being imposed today because Washington insists that Russia has not lived up to the April 17th Geneva Agreement, in which Moscow said it would use its leverage in eastern Ukraine to help de-escalate the crisis. Despite what U.S. officials are saying, we did hear from Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov over the weekend. He did call on all parties involved in the crisis to put down their arms, to leave any buildings that they're occupying, and to take part in de-escalating the crisis. Now, in response to these latest rounds of sanctions, Moscow says it will find a proper response.
And you got to think, United States has the Saudis, man. Okay? United States was using the Saudis as their main oil, distributor. Now, Russia is sitting on a lot of oil up there. They're starting to, the lines are starting to be drawn between businesses. At the end of the day, they're all dealing with each other, but it's just the devil standing against the devil, okay? The kingdom can't stand. It has to fall, all right?
RT's Marina Portnoy live from New York. Marina, thank you very much indeed for that. Let's leave it there. And in contrast to America's sweeping sanctions against Russian companies, Europe is reportedly opting for a less brazen approach. 15 Russian individuals face asset freezes and visa bans, though their names have yet to be released. And in order, the EU's approach has been a point of contention even inside the bloc. Let's now take a look at exactly where the key players stand. So, according to a Spanish newspaper quoting a high-ranking EU diplomat, Poland and the Baltic states are the most hardline on sanctions. Eastern European countries like Hungary, Bulgaria and Romania are also among those ready to support tougher penalties, but only if the EU helps them cope with the repercussions. The UK and Sweden are advocating harsh sanctions, but according to the paper, London's just copying Washington's position. Countries that used to take a more moderate approach, the likes of France, Belgium and the Netherlands, are now reportedly toughening up. And there's speculation that could be because Washington's leaning on them. And finally, there are those who think tougher sanctions will be counterproductive. Germany leads this camp, and Berlin's position is also reportedly shared by Rome and Madrid.
Alright, with that, I'm going to say all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders of GMS that feed us with knowledge and understanding, that have labored in this thing. That's why we give them double honors. And much love to you brothers, the elect brethren that are waiting, praying, watching, and hoping, man, and keeping faith. Because we're almost home. Shalom.